Are there any circumstances under which the Canadian forces could be deployed to Haiti to either take back territory or combat gangs?
Well, let me start by saying that we partnered with the United States last week to make sure that armored and other tactical vehicles were delivered to Haiti, and that multinational effort is continuing. I spoke with my counterpart, Lloyd Austin, this week, and we discussed the situation there. For Canada's part, we are making sure that we have all information before we take a decision. And so at the current time, there is an intergovernmental team down in Haiti evaluating the security situation, which is grave, and making sure once they return that we have the information needed before we take a decision is, in our view, the most prudent way to go at this point. And I will ask the Prime Minister if he has anything to add.
Obviously, our hearts are breaking for the situation in Haiti right now. The violence, the humanitarian crisis, the health crisis, these are things that are preoccupation to all Canadians, particularly the significant Haitian community that we have in Canada as well. That's why we are looking to do whatever we can to help. It is extremely important that we get this right, that we support the Haitian people in this difficult moment, but it's important to do it in the right way. That's why, as Minister Anand mentioned, we have an assessment team down right now in Haiti looking at the challenges they're facing and how we might best help. It's also why, in conversations with American counterparts, but also, most importantly, long conversations I've had with fellow leaders from the Caribbean last week about how regional partners can be part of this solution. We know that Canada and many other countries have intervened and supported and been there with police support, with corrections support, with military support through various challenges that Haiti has faced over the past decades. We need to make sure that we're successful in stabilizing the situation, giving a strong future to the Haitian people, but that will best be done working with neighbors and friends and local partners. That's why I'm so pleased that there is such an interest by the Caribbean countries to be part of any solution. But of course, before we establish any sort of mission, we need to see a clear plan of action, level of support from the Haitian people and the Haitian government and opposition parties, and a consensus about how we can make sure that as we help the Haitian people, we are ensuring a stronger future for them in the short, medium, and long term.
A question for both of you. You said you talked about Haiti discussions. There's a lot of talk about potential setting up a security force, some sort of security force, a police force with some military elements for Haiti. And at the same time, and I understand it's a very difficult situation, but at the same time, given past experiences, we don't see any country really standing up and willing to lead this force, if that is even a good idea, given that in Haiti it may not be so well accepted. So my question for the Secretary is, first of all, do you think that this force, the idea of a force, security force, is a good idea? And who could lead that force, since the United States has said that they would not do so, they said they would support it, but they would not do it. Et pour Madame la Ministre,
and you, Madam Minister, would Canada be ready? Would Canada be ready to lead this force? And if yes, under which conditions?
I'm happy to start. First, taking a step back on this as well, we have to look at the big picture in Haiti and the challenges that the Haitian people face and that we need to help them address. And we know that between human-made and natural-made challenges, Haiti has more than its hands full. We now have a cholera outbreak on top of everything else that is very serious. But in order to actually get to a place where we can genuinely help Haitians with the assistance that they need, and also make sure that they can be on the path to elections, to get to a new government over time. The knot that really has to be broken in the first instance is concerning security, because Haiti now faces a situation where gangs dominate important space in Port-au-Prince, the capital, as well as in other parts of Haiti, preventing assistance from getting through, everything from food and fuel and water, by blocking critical ports, critical fuel facilities, and also creating an environment in which people cannot move freely about, which would certainly make an election down the road impossible. So our countries have been working very closely together to do a few things to try to cut this insecurity knot and deal with the gang problem. One is to support the Haitian National Police, including with equipment, with advice, and just recently, as you know, Canada provided armored vehicles to the Haitian National Police with our collaboration. At the same time, we are trying to break the nexus between these gangs and some of the political actors who are financing them and directing them. And that goes to the sanctions that were recently put forward at the United Nations, as well as sanctions we're doing on our own basis to try to get at those who are supporting and directing the gangs. Having said all that, I think it's a shared view that more likely needs to be done for the National Police in support of them to allow them to get a real grip on security and to take back these parts of the capital that the gangs have been dominating. So there is now a second draft resolution in the works at the United Nations after the initial resolution on sanctions that would authorize a non-UN international assistance mission to improve the security situation and enable the flow of desperately needed humanitarian aid to Haiti. And so what we've been talking about is what might that look like, what would it need, and we've both been talking to a variety of countries to gauge their interest and willingness to participate in that. So that's the conversation we're having, but I think I appreciate very much the fact that Canada has just sent or announced that it's sending an assessment team to Haiti to look at what would actually be required in terms of supporting the police. But the purpose of any such mission would be to support the Haitian National Police in doing their jobs, to make sure that the state, once again, actually controls the country, not gangs that right now are one of the biggest problems that we face in actually being able to move forward and help Haiti.
Mm-hmm. So to follow up on that, first and foremost, I think it's important to remind ourselves that Haiti is facing a triple crisis. The first one being a security crisis. The Vareux terminal needs to be unblocked. It is fundamental that Haiti be able to supply itself with gas and as well as with clean water. Because as Secretary Blinken mentioned, there is an outbreak of cholera right now. So the second also crisis that Haiti is facing is a humanitarian one. And we definitely need to support Haiti to make sure that, and bring the international community to support Haiti facing this important crisis. And finally, I would say it is also of equal importance to address the political crisis, because there needs to be fair elections happening, and we need to make sure that the environment for these elections to happen is the right one. But to do that, we need to address the security and humanitarian issue. So that is why Canada sent an assessment mission. I confirmed it this morning. The goal is to be able to have information coming from the team that is right now in Haiti on these three crises. We've said it many times, we will always support solutions that are by and for Haitians, because we believe in the fact that solutions are better when, of course, they're taken by them and that we support them. That is also why we're having conversations with the United States on this issue. That's also why I had a long conversation with the head of the African Union, who is in town, Moussa Faki, this morning about the issue. and also that I had conversations with my CARICOM colleagues, because we need to make sure that it is, yes, Canada and US collaborating with the Haitians, but also with many other countries. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that there is strong legitimacy for this approach, and Canada will always be there to support Haiti. I think one of the things that we haven't done when it comes to Haiti in the past, over the decades of Canada being involved in Haiti, is really sanctioning the people that are at the core of the financing of these gangs. And we need to make sure that we have a strong approach when it comes to sanctioning, and we are working with the US along our United Nations partners, because obviously this conversation is happening at the UN Security Council. There was an important resolution also that was that was taken by the UN Security Council on sanctions, and particularly targeting the head of the gangs, which is a so-called barbecue. And we want to make sure that Canada, follows suit on this. But the conversation regarding sanction is well and alive, and we need to make sure that the people that are benefiting from the violence in the streets of Port-au-Prince are held accountable.
Our next question will be from Canadian media, and just a reminder that we request that your questions be asked in a single interaction. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mercedes Stevenson, Global News. Thank you for taking our questions. Secretary Blinken and Minister Joly were just discussing Haiti. I'm wondering, Secretary Blinken, when you came here, if you were hoping for a commitment from Canada to lead this mission, and if that is something that you would still like to see, and Minister Joly, what the range of options are, because it will be partially determined by what we're capable of, which comes to my follow-up. Secretary Blinken, how does the United States feel about Canada's current levels of defense and foreign affairs spending? We have a chief of the defense staff who said we can't do more than the essential. The Canadian government announced $5 billion they said was new spending for NORAD. It turned out that was recycled. And we're under enormous pressure to be able to perform even basic capabilities. I'm wondering if that concerns the United States, and Minister Joly, if that's a frustration for you in trying to fulfill your job with Canada's foreign policy. The policy as well, please.
Happy to start. So on Haiti, if you look at the draft resolution that's before the Security Council right now, the second resolution, it is looking for and asking for countries to provide contributions of personnel, of equipment, of other resources for a potential mission, one that would be very limited in scope, limited in time, and in support, as the Foreign Minister said, of the Haitian National Police, because the purpose is to reinforce their capacity to finally get a grip on the security situation and to deal with the problem of gangs dominating certain critical parts of Port-au-Prince in particular. So we're talking between us, but also, as Mélanie said, with many other countries about who might be willing to participate in such a mission, as well as who will lead it, and that's an ongoing conversation that we're both having and having with others. So this is a work in progress, and we're continuing to pursue it. With regard to defense spending, I'd say a couple of things. First, Canada is making extraordinary contributions every single day, particularly as we see with the Russian aggression against Ukraine, and the work as well as the very important material support that Canada is providing to the Ukrainians to help them defend themselves. And we just saw another significant provision of support, as well as very significant humanitarian assistance both in Ukraine itself, as well as, of course, all of the support that Canada is giving to so many Ukrainians who've come to Canada. More broadly than that, though, we as allies have been working together in NATO for years to continue to strengthen our contributions to our common defense. We had the recent NATO summit in which we were working closely on a new strategic concept, which will require resources. We have a common commitment that we've made many years ago at the Wales summit to spending a certain percentage of our GDP on defense. For countries, this is a work in progress. We're all making efforts to meet both the commitment that was made in 2014, but also to take into account so much that has changed since 2014, and that requires us, I believe, all to do more to provide for our common security. We took steps at NATO in the face of the Russian aggression to strengthen NATO itself, including on the eastern flank. Canada's played an important part of that. But I think as we're talking about this now, we're looking at new challenges that weren't even there in 2014 when we all made these commitments to NATO and to our defense spending. So I think we all have to find ways to resource them properly, and that's part of our conversation.
Thank you. So on Haiti, Mercedes, so we have provided $40 million since the beginning of this year for the Haitian police. And we historically have very much been involved in creating their training and really making sure to empower them on the ground. What we're seeing right now is there is more help needed, and the Haitian police needs to be able to handle the gangs, which is not the case at this point. And so that's why the assessment team is in Haiti right now to see what's the level of organization of the Haitian police and what's the security situation. What does the Haitian government has in terms of tools to deal with the gangs that are funded? And so that is why we're looking at different options, but we want to make sure that we have the right assessment. And I've said it many times, it needs to be by and for Haitians. So we will be working with Haitians themselves, and we need to work also with many countries around the world to deal with this issue. And so I think that Canada has always been a very, very good friend to Haiti. We have strong relationship. Our police forces have strong relationship with Haiti also because they've been there in the 1990s, at the beginning of the 2000s, and we want to maintain them, and more than ever, Haiti needs us. And so, of course, we will play a role. In terms of, military investments and being able to do my job, I think, looking back at the last year, I think it's been a very busy year. And I think that we can be proud of Canada's leadership in the world on many issues, from indeed Haiti, but also looking at what we're doing, to support women in Iran right now, or obviously everything we've done on the question of Ukraine. On the question of Ukraine, we've spent and invested more than $3.5 billion at this point at all levels. We're one of the countries that is investing the most per capita. We also are leading, like Tony said, on the eastern flank of Europe, the NATO Latvian forces. And I'm coming up with an Indo-Pacific strategy, and the goal is definitely for Canada to play a bigger role in the region. But as you know, Minister Anand, our defense minister, has a defense policy review to undergo, and so I'm convinced that she'll show great leadership on this issue.